This edition of CropLife Retail Week is brought to you by the Tech Hub Live Conference and Expo, July 20th and 21st at the Iowa Events Center in Des Moines. For full information, visit techhublive.com. Well, hello again. Welcome to CropLife Retail Week. I just can't stop laughing because it's like
in person.
In person.
Good Lord. Hey, how you doing, Paul? Wow, a human being's touch. I haven't had that in a year. It's
slightly creepy, but okay.
Slightly creepy. I'm shaking hands, folks. I didn't squeeze, I swear.
Yeah.
Didn't grab his elbow or anything.
I can count the number of handshakes I've had in the last 18 months on one hand and still have some fingers.
That's true. Yeah, I know myself. We were in the office today and I saw somebody and they offered me their hand and I'm like, okay. But I shook it and I survived, and we've still got lots of Purell in the office. So if I really was that germophobic about it, I could have applied some of that and been safe, but supposedly.
That was a tangent.
Okay, sorry. So anyhow, we're out of the bunker. Paul and I are finally out of the bunker. There's no dog behind me rolling around on the bed. There is no bird on his shoulder that's pecking at his the fuzz on your shirt or whatever Sparky likes to do.
I'm staring at a pile of garbage on the other side of my attic.
That's right. We actually have a live videographer. He was just out of frame, but he is here and he's enjoying a cup of coffee while he's smiling, trying not to throw it at us. So.
He confessed that, when we start talking, he walks away and gets a snack. So,
which remotely works fine.
We can't even captivate the one person that we can see, or that's there. So it's very sad.
So anyhow, it is great. It is great to be back in person, in studio, and I hope you guys missed their studio as much. Hopefully we got a nice backdrop here. I'm not sure what we'll be putting in, but it should be something fun. But we're finally back in office. So if you guys want to reach us out there, give us a call in the office, and you know what? We'll probably answer the phone. It's a great idea.
Absolutely. Especially if you're calling about Tech Hub. See, I got my own
there's the segue, a self-segue.
So Tech Hub Live, we're like less than 2 weeks away now. Yes, so we're, everybody's, A, freaking out. Two, it's an inaugural show. It's a launch. We've got great sponsors, got great exhibitors, got a really super attendee list, and now it's just execution. So everybody's running around with like headless chickens, just trying to get all those last minute details together. But we're really excited. One of the things we're really excited about was the fact that the city of Des Moines and the state of Iowa have been so receptive to our return and so excited about the return of live events, starting with Tech Hub, that they're throwing a party for us on Monday night, and we're having a party on Tuesday night of the show. So that all the attendees are invited to, and so we welcome you to come out. We've got a brewing company lined up for one of the events, and I know that we're opening it up and really, this is kind of a celebration of the reopening of the city. So, along with lots of learning, lots of things going on, lots of networking, lots of the businessy things that you're going to do, and agronomy-ish things and technology-like things that you're going to be engaged in. Of course, we want you to relax and have fun at the same time, so we welcome you to come to all those things. If you're coming, if you're not, please look into it at techhublive.com. All that stuff's on the website. You can see what activities we have planned. And join us, because it's going to be a great coming out party for everybody in ag who wants to get back together and start doing business again in person.
I know, Paul. After the last 15, 16 months, the thought of actually going to a party, a social event with no social distancing, and some good drinks, good friends, good food. I'm not sure. It may get a little wild. I suppose we better hide all the lampshades just to make sure, because it could. People, after being cooped up for this long, there could be some major celebrating going on. And by the way, compliments on using the word execution and chickens with heads cut off in the same basic sentence. I wasn't going there when you meant execution, but that may be the execution you meant. I don't know.
I'm sure subliminally it is, because that's how kind of I roll. But the other thing is, I'm actually, as part of the journey, I am actually going to drive the 10 hours and 11 minutes, according to Google, all the way down to I-80, because maybe people don't know that I-80 connects Cleveland and Des Moines.
Yes,
so,
I just know it splits Iowa in half perfectly.
It does, and that's, of course, that's the I-80, above and below that we talk about with, when products go up here or down here in terms of weather. But anyway, I'm going to be traversing that. So if anybody has any suggestions on great things I should see, I mean, I've been to plenty of places along the way between here and them. Any of our I-State friends or Eastern O-State friends or Western O-State friends who have some suggestions on things to see on I-80. My son said the largest truck stop in the world is somewhere around the Quad Cities. So
I smell a remote video opportunity, perhaps.
Yeah, and I'll probably track it on Twitter too, just for fun, just to take pictures along the way of what I've seen. So
I want to see the biggest ball of yarn that's somewhere probably east of Cedar Rapids, perhaps.
A little far, it's in Kansas.
Okay, sorry.
The largest ball of twine. Yes. So that's enough about Tech Hub. So what else is going on?
Well, okay, Paul, we do have a couple of things to talk about. It usually happens this time of year. The USDA puts out their numbers regarding the kind of the final crop numbers, the planting numbers as we go into the year now that basically folks have been planting things throughout April, May, and June, and now done. And actually the numbers came in, Paul, and it's probably good news for 3 crops and not so much good news for one of the 4 majors. According to the estimates for 2021, we got 92.7 million acres of corn going in the ground, which is up 2% from 2020. Soybean, 87.6 million acres, up 5%. Wheat, 46.7 million acres, up 5%. And then there was the down one, cotton, only 11.7 million acres, which was down 3%. So those are the final numbers for what went into the ground here in 2021. So we'll find out what the harvest numbers look like come October. But Paul, looks like a strong year for 3 out of the 4 major row crops.
Yeah, and all things being equal, corn is what everyone runs to, right?
Usually, yes.
Still front runner.
And again, soybean numbers are still pretty high based on the commodity prices. So again, the 2 majors are leading the charge, and that's not a surprise.
Yep, good stuff. So what else?
Well, what else? Okay, a couple of videos ago, I'm probably now thinking a couple of months ago, we reported that there were 2 ag retailers in Wisconsin that were going to be merging together, 2 cooperatives. That was Landmark and Countryside. And basically, they had announced that they were going to come up with a new name and announced it in July. And Paul, I sat in on a webinar that happened a couple of days ago. We found out the new company name is Alcivia. Actually, Jim Dell, the company CEO, talked about that. The new company tagline is all together now, and periods in between all those. Basically saying that they're going to be $625 million in sales and cover the states of Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, and Iowa. And just a couple of other numbers, because numbers are always fun. The cooperatives now combined will have 39 million bushels of grain that they'll handle. We'll have 82 million gallons of gas, propane, energy products that they handle annually, 50 million in sales for seed and crop protection products, and they didn't give a sales figure on fertilizer, but they say that the cooperatives will be averaging 240,000 tons of crop nutrients per year to its customer base. So again, congratulations to Alcivia on joining the market. And look for them, of course, in our CropLife 100 report coming up later this year. As I know that as Landmark, before the merger, they were somewhere in the middle of the 100. I'm sure now they're going to be a little higher on the list.
Interesting. Yeah, more cooperative mergers. That's maybe something we can get up and see and after they've baked the merger a little bit and see how things are going.
Yes, as a matter of fact, yeah, making a trek up to Wisconsin may not be out of the question. So
very good.
Awesome. All right. So one other thing just sort of to mention before we get to some fun with numbers.
I was going to say, you said numbers are always fun. I don't think so.
Yeah, fun with numbers. But before we get to that, this is just something that we'll have to follow as we go forward, Paul. Of course, you'll remember our friends at Syngenta Group. They actually went through a buy of Kim China, purchased them back in 2017. Still a private company right now. However, the rumor is that they're going to be going public in the near future and be issuing 2.8 billion shares as part of that initial public offering. So, again, looks like they're going to file on the Shanghai Stock Exchange. But again, that's not a definitive thing happening yet, but it's something we'll have to pay attention to and see if it happens.
Very good.
All right. So now it is time for fun with numbers. And the number this week is a nice round number, and it's a percentage. It's 10%. And your clue is 2020.
That's awful and awful.
Yeah.
10% in 2020. Something is 10% more in 2020?
Actually, in this case, it's less.
Less. Oh, great. Bad news. What is it?
Okay, since you don't have a guess, Paul, according to USDA, the share of income that consumers spent on food in 2020 dropped 10% due to COVID-19 restrictions on eating out and buying food in general. According to the report, U.S. consumer disposable personal income was down 10.1% from the previous year, and that's actually the lowest share that consumers in the U.S. have spent on food year over year in 60 years. So again, Paul, COVID-19 pandemic, the gift that kept on giving, there was less spent on food. I know folks recently have been talking about food prices that are going higher as we come back from the COVID restrictions and closures, but for all of last year, consumers were spending a little less on food than they were the year before, to the tune of 10%. So there is your number.
10% might account for all the ho-hos and candy bars I didn't buy at the gas station.
And see, that's the thing. I know a lot of my friends keep saying that as they were sitting at home, they were gaining weight. But apparently they were doing it by not buying food. I'm not quite sure how that math works out.
I don't know. Well, I guess maybe they just slugged. They just didn't do anything. Just laid around. And
the lack of activity, and even though they weren't more calories going in, they weren't moving around. Maybe I don't. Like I said, I have no explanation for it. I would have expected people to be buying more potato chips, like ho-hos, like you said, than in 2019. But maybe that's not where they were spending their money. I didn't have anything. It said food. It didn't say anything about beverages, shall we say? So who knows? Maybe that number is a higher one.
I don't know. Very interesting. All right, anything else? We done?
We are done.
Done embarrassing me? Great. Okay. Let's carry on.
But it's good to be back in office.
Absolutely. Good to see everybody again at the, well, not everybody, but a handful of us back at the office. And next week, we're full on, I think.
I think we'll be back in studio, yes.
So, all right, and that's it for this edition of CropLife Retail Week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below.
Your feedback is important to us. We'll try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.